Okay, so let's talk about something every homeowner dreads. You know the moment. You hop in the shower, turn on the tap, and nothing. Just ice cold water. A broken water heater can absolutely ruin your day. But really, that's just the beginning of the problem. Because now you have a choice to make, and this is the big one we're digging into. Do you roll up your sleeves and try to DIY this thing? Or do you pick up the phone and call a professional? It sounds simple, but you're actually juggling safety, plumbing, electrical work, and, yeah, your budget. So let's figure out what it really takes to do this right. All right, so first things first, before you even think about touching a tool, we need to talk about prep work. Honestly, this is the stage where a DIY project either sets itself up for success or total failure. And that's the key right there. It's not just about having the right wrench, it's about knowing your system inside and out. Do you have an electric unit or gas? What size is it? And what about local building codes? Some places require things like seismic straps or expansion tanks. Doing this homework up front can save you a world of hurt later on. Now let's talk tools. Here's a quick look at the basics you're going to need. You got your standard plumbing gear like wrenches and Teflon tape, but see that voltage tester? Do not, and I mean do not, skip that one. We're dealing with serious electricity here, so making sure the power is off isn't a suggestion, it's a must. Oh, and that bucket? Trust me, you'll be very, very glad you have it. But here it is, the single most important tool in your entire kit, and you don't even have to buy it. It's the manual that came with the heater. Seriously, every single model has its own little quirks, and this booklet has the exact wiring diagrams and specs you need. If you ignore this, well, you're doing it at your own risk. And this quote right here, this is the golden rule. It's rule number one. Before you do anything else, before you even think about disconnecting a pipe, you walk over to your main breaker box and you shut off the power to that water heater. No excuses, no exceptions. It is the most critical safety step, period. Okay, so let's get into the main event, the installation. This is where things get tricky because it's a real mashup of two different worlds. It's where plumbing meets high voltage power. From a bird's eye view, the process seems pretty straightforward. You'll yank out the old unit, get the new one set up, hook up the water lines, do the wiring, and then fire it up to test everything. But each of these steps has its own traps, right? From making sure the new unit is perfectly level to getting those pipe connections completely watertight. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. This isn't just one job, it's two. You have to be confident and skilled in two totally separate trades. Think about it. A tiny mistake with the plumbing, you've got a leak. A tiny mistake with the wiring, you could have a serious fire hazard. The stakes are pretty high. And here's the electrical fine print that stops a lot of DIYers in their tracks. You can't just plug these things in anywhere. An electric water heater needs its very own dedicated 240-volt circuit, and the breaker for that circuit has to be the right size for the heater's wattage. For a lot of people, this right here is the moment they decide, you know what, I'm calling a pro. So what if you're not putting in a new heater, but you're trying to fix the one you've got? Well, welcome to what I like to call the repair gauntlet. It's a series of common problems that will really put your skills to the test. This chart is an awesome little cheat sheet. So on the left, you see stuff you might be able to handle. A little drip from a pipe fitting? Yeah, you can probably try tightening that. But on the right, that's a different story. If the tank itself is leaking, it's game over. You need a new unit. Same thing with the thermostat. Adjusting the temperature is easy, but if the heater is going haywire and won't regulate temperature at all, that's a sign of a much bigger problem. And hey, while we're on the subject of thermostats, here's a number you should probably remember: 120 degrees Fahrenheit. For most homes, that's the perfect sweet spot. It's plenty hot for showers and dishes, but it's low enough to help prevent scalding and save you a little money on your energy bill. The recommended range is usually between 120 and 140. So, we've walked through the prep, the installation, and some common repairs. Now it's time to bring it all together and make that final call. And really, it all boils down to two things: safety for your home and a long, healthy life for your water heater. And a huge part of that is just simple, proactive maintenance. Flushing the tank once a year gets rid of all the gunk and sediment that makes it work harder. You should also check the anode rod. That's a little metal rod designed to rust away so your tank doesn't. And definitely test that pressure relief valve. These little steps can make a huge difference. But in the end, it all comes down to this. This is probably the single most important piece of advice in this entire guide. If you get to any point in the process and you feel even a little bit unsure about the wiring, about the pipes, about anything, just stop. The The smartest, safest thing you can do is call a professional. There is zero shame in knowing your limits, especially when we're talking about your family's safety. So there you have it. You've seen what it takes, you know the tools you need, you understand the steps, and you get that you're dealing with both plumbing and high voltage electricity. You know the risks. So the only question left is, what's your call?